Hey, you guys. I think we're live on Valley and Beyond. We are. Look at that. Look at that. So we're actually back try. There we go. All right. Hi. Hi, you guys. I have to cut the sound out on a few things. This thing. There we go. There we go. Just want to share this. All right. We're close. Let me see. Now, just want to see if I can.
Hey, welcome to our YouTube page. So just really quickly, I want to let you know the whole purpose of this page is to carry a message of love and light, message of awakening.
So now we're live. Hi, you guys. We're live on Facebook, and we're live on YouTube. And I'm just trying to see if I can bring this up. No, how about there? So we'd like to share it if I can on. Nope. How about here? My gosh. Just working out a couple of the details. Not as easy as it looks. Facebook's changed their platform quite a bit. And so I'm still kind of fiddling around to find my way. And okay, hopefully you can see me, and I can see you. Hey, you guys. So we have a few people on Facebook Live. Thank you. And I'm just trying to get myself set up with one more little thing, if possible, and that's to I've got a lot of Facebook pages open on my computer, and I'm trying to find, like I said, Facebook has a new platform, and it doesn't it isn't what it used to be. So here we are with this book, the Bhagavad Gita, and hopefully you can see it this way. And I'm just going to look at how we want to view this. Yeah, that's the way we want to view it. If any of you want to join me here, if you'd like to join, I'd like to give you the password or the entry to this. I'm not as techy as I think I am. One of the things, hi you guys, thanks for joining. So this is what we're doing. And I'm just gonna leave, we're gonna go with what we got. I was trying to get us kind of set up so that we could be also show on my personal Facebook, but that's just not going to happen. I don't know why, but I can see that it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to go with what I got. All right. So here we are. There, I can see it. Hey, you guys. And there, I can see that some of you are on my Facebook, on the YouTube or on the Battling Beyond page, and that's what we have. I was hoping that it would show on the other one too, but I can't seem to get to it to see if it's there or not. Hi, so what are we doing? We're reading the Bhagavad Gita. And this is the second day. We started yesterday, and we read the introduction. And this translation, by the way, is written by Stephen Mitchell. And let's see if I can get it so that you can see his name, Stephen Mitchell. There he is. And he's an amazing author. If you look at the front of this book, if you buy this book and have a look at it, it's amazing what he's already written and put together. So he's just really something. So the first thing that we read yesterday was quite long. It was the introduction. And the introduction turned out to be 13 to 30, so about 16 pages. And just talks about the history of the book and where it came from, the history of the Bhagavad Gita, the writing, and all about that. So if you haven't read that, you can probably just look it up online, the introduction to this book, or you could, hi, Toby, nice to see you. You can look it up online, or you can get a copy of this and read the introduction. But tonight, we're going to read this part, which is about the translation. Now, hopefully you can see this. This is as tech as I get right now. Maybe it'll get better in time. I'll have to figure out how to do this. I'd love to have the camera kind of turned the other way and over my shoulder, but it doesn't seem to want to work that way right now. So this is what we have. So about the translation. So he's going to talk about how he did this. And I'm going to read it to you. And then tomorrow we'll get into some of the verses in the beginning of the, and it's the Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. And Krishna, of course, being a concept, in Hindu mythology, Krishna was the man. He was God, and he is God in Hindu mythology. It's beautiful. And he had this long conversation with Arjuna on the battlefield. And Arjuna was really young in the teachings, and he had a lot of questions. So we're going to go there. Hey, Jason, thanks for joining in. So this book is, according to David Hawkins, vibrates over 900. I'm not going to explain that tonight, but Hawkins is if you've never read Hawkins, I encourage you to look at David Hawkins, and he measures vibration, using kinesiology from and from 0 to 1,000, 1,000 being Christ consciousness. So over 900 puts this book, there isn't many writings on the planet that are of higher vibration than this. So we're going to dig into this together. And I just believe with all my heart, that this will be uplifting. If you discover this book, and become a student of this, it's uplifting. So here we go. Hopefully you can hear me. Can you hear me, you guys? Everybody hear me okay? Just if you're on Facebook, say thumbs up, or give us a couple of thumbs up or a couple of hearts or something if you can hear. And because I'm not plugged into a mic right now, I'm just speaking into the room. Anybody hear me? Hello? Little thumbs up. Couple of, oh yeah. Hey, JR, thank you. Good. All right. So about the translation, and this is written by Stephen Mitchell, and he says, because, he says, my knowledge of Sanskrit is rudimentary, I depended on two principal guides to take me by the hand and lead me through the intricacies of the text. Thank you, guys. I want to say as I go into this that I haven't prepared myself for some of the words, because some of the words are words that I'm not that familiar with, or in another language, and I may stumble a bit, but bear with me. Two principal guides to take me by the hand and lead me through the intricacies of the text. Winthrop Sargent's interlineal translation with running vocabulary and grammatical analysis, the Bhagavad Gita, Sunny Press, 1984. Did all the busy work for me and made my first draft a relative breeze. Meticulous line-by-line commentary by Robert N. Miner, Bhagavad Gita, and exegetic commentary, South Asia Books, 1982, clarified my understanding of the Gita's use of a number of difficult terms, and most notable Brahman, and shaped my interpretation of many dozens of verses. I am deeply indebted to both of them. So he's giving credit to these fellows who have also written translations. I also consulted in detail a number of other translations, the literal ones by Franklin Egerton and S. Radhun Grishinman and R.C. Zachner. The mostly literal translation by Barbara Stoll Miller, and the interpretive paraphrastic version by Egner Esawayan. I have trouble with the language, eh? Hey, Paul. Hey, Toby. Glad you guys are here. So I'm on the reading now, and I just, somebody was asking me when am I doing the reading, and I'm actually doing it now, and I don't know. Hang on a second. Just 1 second. I'm going to see if there's some possible way that I can share this. Oh, I am. Here we go. There we go. Done. I just managed to get that. That's great. I'm happy about that. Okay. So one of the things it tells me right away is that a lot of people have done translations. I have 4 different translations here, and I have to be honest, I haven't read them all. This is my favorite, and I've gone deep into this one and not only read it, a number of times, but have listened to the audiobook a dozen times. So, but there's many translations and adaptations. Says, I learned from each of them and occasionally borrowed a word or a phrase that seemed just right. The main problem in translating the Gita, at least my main problem, was finding the right verse form in English. The Gita is written in syllabic verse. It's a syllabic verse. Its normal meter, the Sulka, divides into 4 lines of 8 syllables each, and are with certain prescribed alternations of long and short syllables. The closest analogical in Western literature is classic Greek or Latin verse. There's also a longer meter called the tristuba, which crops up at odd intervals. Though according to the traditional view, this meter is used in the Gita for verses of greater intensity. Some of the most intense passages in the Gita are written in the Sulka meter, and the variation between Tabusco and Sulka is fairly arbitrary. There you go. Can you guys read this? I'm hoping you can see the pages. What seems to me essential was finding a line that had the dignity of formal verse, yet was free and supple enough to sound like natural speech. For many years, I thought that if I ever translated the Gita, I would use a 4-beat line to recreate the 8 syllables of the Sanskrit. But when I finally began, I found that the tetrameter, like its longer cousin, the ill-fated English hexameter, tends to break apart into 2 shorter lines. And even when it succeeds, it often carries with it the renaissance of the Old English verse. Wow. So not easy to translate this by the looks, sounds of things, the Old English verse, which would have been jarring here. The form that I came to use is a loose trimeter quatrain. Wow. And the asterisk says, except in the expository prologue, chapter 1, in the beginning of chapter 2, where prose seemed more appropriate. Hey Mel, I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita. I know I've wandered where few men dare to go. This is gosh, it's one thing to sit and listen to this being read, on Audible, or even reading it to myself and skipping over those things that I don't necessarily understand. But here I am reading it to you, and certainly exposing my lack of an English degree. I haven't majored in the language. Okay, certain Sanskrit words, this is on page 33, that are central concepts in the Gita seem better left untranslated. Certain Sanskrit words that are central concepts in the Gita seem better left untranslated. Okay. Yoga, for example, has by now become a comfortable English word, though it's in its more limited sense of physical or hatha yoga. In the Gita, it has a wider range of meaning in path and practice, discipline, and meditation, among others. Restricting it to the discipline alone would be an improvisement. I thought, besides, how could one expect the reader to keep a straight face at the image of Krishna as the Lord of discipline? I've also left untranslated the Sanskrit term guna, which is strand or quality. along with Sattva and Raja and Tamas. Attempts to find English equivalents for such concepts have been uniformly unsuccessful and confuse more than they clarify. It is like translating Tao as the way, or yin and yang as darkness and light. Accurate up to a point, but limiting. The meaning of these terms become fairly clear from the context, especially after chapter 14. But since they occur a number of times early in the Gita, it may be helpful to refer to the following brief description by Winthrop Sargent. And he's talking about the gunas. Okay, the three gunas, sattva, or illumination and truth, raja, or passion and desire, and tamas, or darkness, sloth, and dullness, were originally thought by the Sanskrit philosophers who first identified and named them to be substances. Later, they became attributes of the psyche. Sattva has been equated with essence. Raja with energy, and tamas with mass. According to still another interpretation, sattva is intelligence, rajas is movement, and tamas is obstruction. The word gunas means stand, thread, or rope, and pratkat, or material nature. And pratkat, or material nature, is conceived as a cord woven from the three gunas. They chain down the soul to thought and matter. Now we're getting to it. They can exist in different proportions in a single being, determining his mental outlook and his actions. A man whose nature is dominated by sattva will be clear-thinking, radiant, and truthful. A man whose nature is dominated by rajas will be passionate, quick and angry, and greedy. A man whose nature is dominated by tamas will be stupid, lazy, and stubborn. But most men will be found to have elements of gunas different from their dominating ones, i.e., to be motivated by combination of gunas. The aim of the upward reaching Atman, or self, is to transcend the gunas, break free of their bondage, and attain liberation. The Bhagavad Gita, page 31. Okay, one last item. The reader will notice that in the following pages, wisdom seems to be a male prerogative, whereas in my version of the Tao Te Ching, I've been careful to portray the master as alternately she and he. But in Lao Tzu's infinite, open, fluid, and generous sense of the world, wisdom belongs to us all. And we are urged to know the male, yet keep to the female. You're urged to know the male, yet keep to the female. And the Tao itself is called the mysterious woman, or great mother. The poet of the Gita, on the other hand, was writing mostly for priests, the Brahmins, and warriors, according to his cultural preconceptions. Rebirth as a woman is a stroke of rotten karma. Rebirth as a woman is a stroke of rotten karma, which can indeed be overcome, but only with a wholehearted devotion. The literal meaning of 9.32 is, those who take refuge in me, Arjuna, even if they're born in evil wombs as women or laborers or servants, also reach the supreme goal. Given this mindset, it would have been too much of a distortion for me to call the sage the wise woman, or even the wise man or woman. I hope that women who read these pages will forgive this particular limitation of the Gita's consciousness and realize that with its spirit, if not always with its words, it is pointing all of us to the essential truth. So that's his introduction, about the translation. So yesterday I read the introduction, and now we've read about the translation. Oh, I'll read this too. There's a note. Stanza numbers printed within brackets at the top outer margins of the following pages refer to the Sanskrit text. They don't always correspond to the stanzas of this translation. Interesting. The Bhagavad Gita. So chapter 1, we're not going to go there yet. Tomorrow, we're going to go there. And this may take a while because there's a number of chapters and there's a lot here. There's a lot here and to delve into. And I don't want to rush through this. I don't want to rush through this. Trust me, I really would like you to know that this is as much for me as it is for you. As I delve deeper into teachers, the teachings of Muji and his master Babaji and his master Maharishi, Ramanand Maharishi, they quote the Gita a lot, right? They quote the Gita a lot, and and so I guess I'm also interested in becoming a student of the Gita, and earlier, if you read the introduction, he talks about Gandhi saw the Gita as his primary text, and Emerson and Thoreau saw the Gita as beautiful wisdom. So it stood the test of time since well before the birth of Christ, and so we're going to delve into it. It's not a teaching in a sense of a word that it's going to give us a doctrine, thou shalts, but it's going to open up our awareness. It's going to open up our awareness about ourselves, about our true selves. I think the Greek philosopher, who was it that said, know thyself? Who said, know thyself? Well, this is going to help with that. And so I encourage you to join me tomorrow night. I had planned to do this, a plan to every day at 2-ish, and I got called into work today. So some of you might have saw that I did my reading of the book that I do every day, the 24-hour day book. I read it in my car because I'm working now at part-time at Fresh Start, the treatment center, which I love. And I went to my car and read it today. So that's it. We just improvise, adapt, right? Go with the flow. And so tomorrow night, my goal is to be here at 6, and we'll read some more. And love you guys. So get a copy. If you haven't got a copy, get a copy of the Bhagavad Gita. You can go down to chapters and pick it up and catch up. Read the introduction. Maybe read it a couple of times to kind of set yourself in the tone for this book. And we're going to go through it together. Okay. Love you lots. And we'll talk tomorrow. Okay. Cheers.